All I want to say to you, I'm very pleased with most of you. In fact, all of you that I see, you are really representing Taft High School in many, many ways. You do well, you look well, you act well, and you are following so many of the patterns of the teachers that worked with you. And we, as a group of teachers when I was at Taft, worked together to try to instill more than just what was in the book. We worked with different phases of things that you would need when you left school, and it stuck. You do real well. I saw Reverend Dwight Wilkins there, and he was one of my prize students. And I'm so proud of Dwight. And of course, Harshaw is my son, and Chris, and I was very close to the young men because all the girls hung around the gym. And the fellas would come over, and the fellas would come to see about their girls. And to show you how close they are, most of them married their high school girlfriends, and that's a good thing. And they are still together, and that's a better thing. I want to thank you for remembering me as one that helps in any way toward you. And I want to thank my children here that continue to take care of me.
Yes, Ms. Payne said, when they were tearing down the old school, and I came down to take some pictures, a gentleman from the Inquirer came down and he said, wow, okay, who was your most significant graduate? I said, all of them. That was everybody that came through these doors, that came through these halls, even those people that were in what they call special classes. When I was a senior, every one of them graduated from college. Some of them went on to get their doctorate. All right, here we go. Next up.
I once heard it said that once a senator, always a senator. Is that right? Let's try it again if it's right. Once a senator is always a... All right, I have the pleasure of introducing this next gentleman. With Kelly Roselle, would you make your way to the dais, please? Kelly Roselle, Mrs. Roselle. To me, he'll always be Mr. Roselle. Now, y'all know one thing about Mr. Roselle. How many of you know that corporate punishment is still legal? And when I was in Mr. Roselle class, seriously, you either sat down, got put down, or got knocked down. So, Mr. Roselle, I want to say to you personally, thank you for being the male-man model that I had and imparting in me those attributes that made me the man that I am today, Mr. Roselle. So we're going to let your daughter have the privilege of reading your bio.
Ulysses Roselle, teacher and coach. Born February 4th, 1914 in Docena, Alabama. Moved to West Virginia at an early age. His formal schooling was at Aracoma High and Bluefield State College. After college, he was drafted into the United States Army in Vietnam. Mr. Roselle's teaching and coaching career started here in Cincinnati at Bloom Junior High School. He was part of the staff, coached football, basketball, and track. His career moved him to the Robert A. Taft High School. He was part of the coaching staff for football, athletics, basketball, and track. Spent most of his career at Taft. did a short stay at Hughes High School for 4 years. His love for Robert A. Taft High School and the Senators brought him back home, where he finished his career in 2000. His quote, "Some of the best years of my life were at Robert A. Taft High School." His coaching career was at Bloom Junior High School, coaching football as an assistant, basketball, and gymnastics for 3 years, undefeated in Bloom basketball and football. His coaching career at Robert A. Taft High School, 1969, he was an assistant coach and reserve football team. At this time, I would like to take my hat off to my dad, my mentor, and the man that made me the woman that I am today, Mr. Ulysses Roselle.
Come on up, Mr. Rose. Come on up, Mr. Rose. Mr. Rose. Now, if most of you was paying attention, it said he was born in 1914. You know that's not possible. If it was, he would be like Benjamin Button. So Mr. Roselle, come on up. And it'll be safe to say that that was a real typo. He been cool, he gonna stay cool, he gonna die cool. Mr. Roselle, thank you for the sacrifice you've made. I better get in this one. You know that's going to be a Facebook, so I had to get my face. Thank you, Mr. Roselle. Thank you. And thank all the committee for seeing fit to elect me to this operation. I appreciate all of that. My daughter was saying I came to Bloom, but let me say this. Taft High School was not supposed to happen. I was not in any form going to be a teacher at that time. When I graduated from college, my intention was to be a physical therapist. I didn't have any money, so I said, well, go down there and work a little bit, make you some money, then go on about your business. But when I got to Taft, things changed. Every morning when I got up, the physical therapy was further and further away from what I wanted to be. It got to the point where I couldn't wait to get out of my bed to come to Taft High School. And I spent 25 years there, not like Miss Stevens, but I had a few years around here. We had different kinds of teams, but what happened is when I graduated from college, my uncle got in the way. He said, we have need for you right now, so you do something later on. And when I left college, I actually had a job in Cincinnati Public Schools because the recruiter, Forrest Harper, had been to Bluefield, recruiting teachers and whatever, and I had a job, but like I said, I couldn't come to that job right there, and I had to go do my thing in the military. But when I came back, I went to Bloom. We had a good time over there. It was, and at the time I was coaching basketball, we had to play here because we didn't have a gym in Bloom. So when we played the games, we'd come over here, and I would walk around in this building, not this building, but the old building. And I would just, before the game started, I would just walk around and look at things. Not a handprint on the wall, not a piece of paper on the floor. I mean, you couldn't believe how clean this building was back then when I first started to come over here. Finally, they messed around, somebody resigned, and they asked me, said, well, you want to go to Taft? I said, well, do I want to go to Taft? Well, yesterday? Yeah. So I was glad when they sent me to Taft, and I had some decent time. In fact, I had some wonderful times at Taft High School. Like I said, I couldn't wait to get up to come down here and see what was happening next. And I had at the time some wonderful athletes, but I had to tell a story for a second here. The good referee was one of my main athletes. I see a bunch of them out there. How you doing, fellas? This guy, when they told me that he was a preacher, I almost passed out. See, because I remember his history. You can't believe some of the things this guy would do back then. I used to have to run to the dressing room after practice, pick up a broomstick and sit on the table. Because if I'm not in there, you can't believe the things he would do up in there. So I had to bring my stick in there, make him behave, because he was silly as all get out. And when I'm proud of him now. He went to Ohio State and did what he had to do. Then he came back. How many of you remember he played at UC? Let me tell you a little story about that. You know how they have team scrimmages in different football games? When they scrimmaged at UC, he had to sit on the sidelines. That was the way he was out there knocking people out or whatever. He didn't participate in many of the scrimmages at UC because he didn't know how to act. He beat up his teammates. Everybody out there was just getting beat up. So they told him, no, you sit down over here. We know you're going to be all right. And he was one of those persons. I got to hurry up because my crew back there told me I had 4 minutes. So I got a crew back there, my guys that we meet together on Monday for breakfast at we call the Breakfast Club. We eat up the Perkins and we sit up in there and tell lies and people come to the door. You know, it's to the point, and this is for real, they come to the door and kind of sit down to listen to what we say. They love to come, and some of them, if they can get in, they'll come in the room and sit in the corner over there at that table, just be skinning and grinning at what we doing. But we have a good time. And I want to say again to Taft High School, the Alumni Association, and everybody, thank you.
Well, everybody say grace. Everybody say grace. Because we all got a story to tell, all right? So as they take this picture, I'm going to introduce the next inductee, Donald Roach. Donald Roach. Now, I have to tell this brief story before I read Donald's biography. I was scouting for the Reds from, I think, 1990 to 2000. It is before I introduced the RBI program. How many of you heard of RBI, Reviving Baseball in the City? Well, I brought that the RBI program to the city in an attempt to get more of our kids playing the game. Donald was one of the individuals that he went to Central State, he came out of Taft, and being a scout on the Reds, I remember Donald coming to me and saying, Mr. Nams, I want to play pro ball. Mr. Nams, I want to play pro ball. Well, I said, Donald, this is what you need to do. They was having a tryout camp down at Riverfront Stadium. So I said, Donald, you need to spend the next 2 weeks preparing for the tryout camp, and when I'm there on the field, I'll promote you. But I say, your 60-yard dash times and your arm have to be measured enough for you to get serious consideration. Well, sure enough, he showed up at the tryout camp and ran a 6'4", 6'5", 60. How many of you know that's fast? Not as fast as Billy Hamilton, but it's fast. And then when we graded his arm, your arm range measurements goes from 80 to 90, and that's either moderate, exceptional, or outstanding. And Donald had an arm range rating of exceptional. So after 2 seasons that produced only 1 victory in 39 games, and the Taft Senators became the laughingstock of many of the league, and most of the players quit. In 1989, with the new baseball program in place and a new coaching staff, things began to look promising for the Taft Senators. One of Taft Senators, Donald Roach, who plays center field and has always had a passion and love for the game, decided to stay in the program. He began to work harder at the game, and with self-commitment, self-determination, and self-discipline, he helped to turn the program around. You know what, all it takes is one. Despite having only 11 players, the Taft Senators in 1989 became one of the most impressive respective seasons with a 20 wins and 7 losses, wins and loss record. The Senators were no longer the laughingstock of the league. His achievements and recognitions: the West Metro Conference All-Star Team, Taft Awards, Best Defensive Player. Some of his 1989 baseball stats: most triples 4, most RBIs 32, most stolen bases 21, highest batting average 375. The Cincinnati Enquirer final poll placed Taft as ranked number 10. Cincinnati Post and Time Star placed Taft number 11, and the Cincinnati District Tournament Coaches Poll placed Taft at number 4. But one of the most distinguishing things about Donald got drafted by the Reds. The Reds had a strike. What year was that, Donald? 1995. And so, you know, during the strike, baseball got to go on. So Donald was one of the players in the Reds organization that was destined and scheduled to make his major league debut. And guess what happened? They set up the strike. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Taft's very own baseball extraordinaire, class of 2015 inductee, Donald Broach.
Thank you. I'm gonna make this short and sweet. First of all, I'd like to thank all the alumni here tonight. Just want to say that, one thing Chris forgot to mention, that I actually started going to the Reds tryout at the age of 15. I was one of the youngest that was there. I went actually for 6 years without going to the final round. So, you know, I was kind of discouraged about it, but, you know, I knew that I loved baseball, you know, from when I was little. You know, my mom actually got me started in baseball, so I'd like to thank my mom for introducing me to a ball and bat. And the reason why she said that she gave me a ball and bat, because my mom used to actually play hardball. And to keep me out of trouble, she got me a bat and ball, and she was like, you know what, go off to the side, and I want you to throw this ball up against this fence all day until I get finished playing. You know, that's to keep me out the way. So that being said, you know, I truly, truly love the game of baseball. And when I say love the game of baseball, you have to breathe it, sleep it, eat it. You have to do all of it. Because loving it is one thing, liking it is another thing. But I love the game of baseball, and I was destined to further myself either in college or to try to get to professional baseball, which is hard. People don't understand it is hard to get drafted by a professional team. You know, you're dealing with Division I schools, you're dealing with Division II schools, you're dealing with junior colleges, and let alone you're dealing with all the Latin American players. So after my 8th time going, which was 1993, the Reds finally drafted me, and all I told them was I didn't care what round I get drafted in, just draft me and I would prove the rest, which I did. And in closing, I just want to say that when I was at Robert A. Taft, my senior year, I played football, went from football to basketball. From basketball, I ran track and played baseball at the same time. And I actually got qualified for the 200 in track, but of course I couldn't run because we had a baseball tournament going on, so of course I chose baseball over track. So that being said, I just want to say that I am very grateful and honored to be inducted into Robert A. Taft inducted in the Hall of Fame, and for all the rest of the inductees tonight, congratulations, and we're going to always bleed green and gold. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to mention one person. And this was my high school principal, Mr. Henderson. Love you a lot. You kept me on the right path. Thank you.
I have the honor of inducting the next member. It's going to be Dr. Stanley E. Brodnax. Is anyone from Mr. Brodnax's family here available? Dr. Stanley Brodnax was born and raised in Cincinnati's West End. He was the 4th child born to Rebecca and Sidney Brodnax Sr. He attended Washburn Elementary, Bloom Junior High School, and attended Taft High School. As a sophomore at Taft, he was a starting offensive guard on the football team, elected class president, and made honor roll every report period. In his junior and senior years on the football team, he started at both offensive guard and defensive linebacker. He received all-city honor in both positions. In 1964, he graduated from Taft High School, academically ranked the 4th out of his class of 250 students. He subsequently received a football scholarship to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, where he joined his great friend Carl Ward. They both were members of the 1964-65 Rose Bowl team. At the University of Michigan, he was all Big Ten honorable mention and received 3 college degrees. The first degree was a Bachelor's of Science in Biology. The second degree was a Doctor of Medicine, and the third degree was a Master's degree in Public Health, specializing in healthcare organization and administration. He returned to Cincinnati in 1974, where he did medical specialty training in the internal medicine at Christ Hospital. In 1976, he was appointed the medical director of the West End Health Center, which is located next to the former Washburn Elementary, where Dr. Broadness attended. In 1979, he was appointed the health commissioner for the city of Cincinnati, where he directed the activities of the largest health department in the state of Ohio with a budget of $35 million and a staff of 750 employees, with over 100 different programs and activities ranging from managing 6 neighborhood health centers, home health care, school health services, environmental services, sexually transmitted disease programs, licensing and inspection of daycare centers and nursing homes. During his tenure, he applied for and received and managed over $10 million in federal, state, and private foundations for its local health services. He was the first African American to be